and how this influences the way women see themselves today.
We have an image, of course we all have an image of ourselves, and it's a visual image. But I wonder how much this sort of classical European painting has shaped that image. In my own case, I find it quite impossible when I look at the paintings that you show in your film. I can't take them seriously. I cannot identify with them because they are so immensely exaggerated always. You know, they fasten on to some secondary sexual characteristic, you know, these enormous breasts and sort of great big bee-sting bottoms, you know, and those huge things like that, and they just aren't real. Whereas with photographs, you can feel that is potentially, that's possibly me, although no, it probably isn't. But these nearly all the paintings you have shown are what is called idealized, and therefore they are, to me, very unreal in connection with any deep down image that I might have of myself, and in connection with any deep down pleasure that I might have in looking at another female body. They don't give me that kind of pleasure at all. I can admire them as painting, but they don't mean human beings to me.
The image that I compare myself with is the photograph, because it's with photographs that I've been encouraged to think of myself in this way. It is essentially advertising for me that's contributed to this. And consequently, I find it extremely interesting to go back and think of nudes in this way, because I've never done so. But having seen the film, I have no doubt that the same thing applies.
And do you find the nudes in painting unreal in the same way?
Yes.
Well, you can't get any information from it, can you? There's no guide towards the future.
I mean, what kind of information is lacking?
Oh, well, activity, you know, dynamism, anything. It is how someone sees you, and that's all. It's something laid upon you.
I'm glad you showed the many picture, because I always find this extremely shocking, you know, because the men are dressed and the women are naked, and this seems to me to sum up the whole situation. It's a humiliating position, and these women are aware of being humiliated. And I think this is part of the whole scheme of things. I mean, as most people have had at some stage in their life sort of nightmares about running through the streets with nothing on and everybody else is dressed. And this seems to me one element in the pictures.
A very interesting thing you said in the film was about how nudity was really a kind of disguise. It wasn't the real person themselves and free, but it was just another garment they were wearing, and worse than a garment in a sense, because it's something that you can't take off. This comes, I think, from nudity being combined with a pose, and that's inevitable if you're going to have a painting of a model. In a way, I think that we're always dressing up for a part, always putting on a uniform of one kind or another. And I think women do this almost more than men. Men have only begun doing it fairly recently. Women are always dressing to show the kind of character that they want to represent: the mother, the working woman, the pretty young chick. And nudity is a uniform, in a way, for I'm ready now for sexual pleasure, you see. And so it doesn't, you can't identify being nude with being free.
I've only just recently read that book, Histoire d'eau, which describes the way in which a woman is reduced for the sexual pleasure of the man she's in love with to a complete object. And what struck me in all that book as the most impressive image was the fact that she was told that she was never to touch her own breasts, to entirely close her mouth, or to put her legs together. And so the whole point about her stance all the time was that she was available. And this, the sense of being available, the sense of waiting for other people, is the very antithesis of action. And it, you know, just like the Brook Street Bureau advertisement, Tony hasn't rung, you know, he's 3 minutes late and ringing. And you feel this whole situation, the number of women you talk to who say, I stay in so many nights a week waiting for somebody to ring, you know, that the concept of availability implies passivity, because if you're simply waiting for somebody else to act, then you can't act yourself.
Yes, it's like you will awake when a man taps you, you know, when a man kisses you, you will arise and get off your bed. But really it's an excuse to get yourself going. I think women are too shy. You know, they're waiting too long.
Yes, yes.
Could I say something there about narcissism? I think that both men and women are narcissistic, but in different senses. And I think that sometimes I have the impression that men and women are tremendously narcissistic and cut off from each other by their images of themselves, but that whereas a woman's image of herself is derived directly from other people, the mirror you're talking about, a man's image of himself is derived from the world. That is, it's the world that gives him back his image because he acts in it. And women are drawn to him as a source, as a centre of activity, and as a source of worth. I mean, since he is in the world, the fact that he values her is important. And so because they're sort of centres of narcissism are different, and the woman's is essentially only related to the other person, she's in a much more passive position than he is in relation to it.
Yes. Do you see narcissism as essentially a negative or positive phenomenon?
Well, I think that's very difficult to answer, but in the sense that it is related to identity, it's a positive phenomenon, and it seems to me that what women envy in men a lot of the time is that they have a sense of their own identity, that there is something in them which is important to them, other than simply what other people think of them. And I think that that thing is the product of their interaction with the world, that is, other things and other people. And it's almost as if through this interaction they actually build up a store of worth, a sense of themselves, which is a constant. I mean, it can't be lost. But that because the woman doesn't go out and act, she doesn't create this store. She waits only for the present interaction with a man. Mm-hmm. And that can just end at any moment.